Good morning Facebook, good morning friends. My name is Maureen Claffy and I'm an artist, and so are you. Today we're going to be experimenting with neon ink, neon acrylic ink on a watercolor that I already have set a base on, a dried base of watercolor. So I thought this would be a really fun thing to experiment with on. These are bright colors, even for me, but it's kind of a gloomy, rainy day in Chicago, so let's give it a go. Okay, here we go. So this is a watercolor. I'm going to flip this around really quickly. It's a long piece again of this moleskin paper. You see that? And it's beautiful paper. This is the smooth side. I painted on the rough side. And when I use like my squirrel hair brush is really only for watercolor because I like to protect them from any type of binders that might be in something like a product like this. So this is a Dollar Rowney acrylic artist's ink. I've used these before. I used these in my knitting series and they were amazing. This is a beautiful product. It's a little jar of glory, and I'm going to turn this light on and see if this helps. Actually, I'm not going to turn that light on. So I'm going to take it out, and I'm also going to pull over a palette from one of my watercolor boxes, just so I can have a place to kind of like place it in case it tips over. It won't make a mess on the painting. But sometimes that's actually really cool. Like I had this one teacher at the School of the Art Institute. Her name was Kay, and Buckman, and she was beautiful. She used to start her paintings by taking a bottle of ink and just dumping it over, which, how genius is that? So anyway, but that's not kind of what I want to do today. So I'm just gonna pull some ink out. All right, and I think for the sake of expediency, I'm going to put several out so that we can look at all of them and mix them at the same time, okay? So this together will make an orange, but then in this set of 6, they also have some pre-mixed oranges, so let's experiment with those as well. Okay. This, because it has an acrylic base, will dry with kind of like this hard, shiny finish at times, depending on the paper, depending on how much water you use when you work with it. At least that's been my experience. But it lends a beautiful richness to the work that makes acrylic ink really fun. Here's blue, okay? I like to put my blue next to my yellow too, so that I can very easily make green. Up here, we're gonna have like the pink and the blue, which makes violet, and the yellow and the blue, which makes green. These will make different oranges. This and that will probably make brown. So I kind of have to be careful with that because I'm not crazy about brown. Although we're gonna mix it and see what happens. All right, here's green. I'm gonna put some more. This is, there, right there. That's gonna go brown. So I'm careful with that. Although sometimes I think I'm getting much more color comfortable with earth tones, and then I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. So I'm gonna move this up here so that you can see how I mix and how I paint, okay? So I put together a series of brushes, and I don't use my most expensive brushes for anything except watercolor because I know it will rinse out. So some of these are so old, I have just like drawers of brushes, and some of these are so old that the manufacturer has been like, look at this one. Like this, I believe, is a Robert Simmons brush because it's such a high quality. You can just feel it in the bristles and the way it's put together. But it used to have a green handle like this, so I probably left it soaking overnight or something in it, all the paint peeled off. But so these are beautiful brushes. And this one, I didn't really clean it all that well. I think I'm going to soak it and see if I can get more of the paint out of it. If you don't clean your brushes right, you'll end up with like a hard line of residue here, as you can see I have in this brush. All right, as you can see here, these two are already blending. They're already making friends. So I'm going to go in with this brush because it's in my hand, and I'm going to pull this forward and see what happens. It's really gorgeous. Can you see that? That really bright orange that's created by mixing the yellow in. And I'm gonna hop right in here. I actually already have some earth tones in here. I'm gonna layer on top of that and see what happens. Thank you so much for being with me today. I have so enjoyed the way being available to do these videos at 11 and in the morning is the perfect thing that anchors my day. During the coronavirus, it makes me feel like I've accomplished something. Something, important, connecting with you. So thank you. Yellow. Did you see how I went directly into the yellow? Are you watching like how I'm going to move this back just a tiny bit? And dipping straight into yellow here. Pulling it forward, watching it blend on the paper. Again, I really have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just enjoying the process. I don't have like a specific vision, except that my vision is always joy. How to create joy. So, move that back just again a little bit. Can you still make sure you can still see the mixing? Okay. I'm pleased with this. I started this painting on the beach at the end of the summer with my daughters. We went up to my sister's place and had a beautiful few days together. And so some of these earth tones, and I was experimenting with core watercolors, and so it was a little bit more earth toned in some places that I hadn't expected. But moving along here, so I'm covering up a little bit of those earth tones and some things that I felt like maybe I hadn't intended. Like here's like a big blotch from the beach, but I have to tell you what's really fun is just about every day now I wear these yoga pants that are made with my artwork, and I see things in them that really make me laugh, because it's like, oh wow, I didn't know I intended that. There's something beautiful about living with chaos. Here's some blue here. I'm going to take this, what's on this brush, which is orange and yellow, and I'm going to mix it with blue and see what happens. So we get kind of like, I don't want to call it a dirty gray blue, but it definitely, it's mixing all three of the primaries closely. So it's not, but I'm going to pull a little bit more neon into it, and I'm going to experiment with how it looks on this. And it's actually pretty much of a straight match for what I didn't want, but I'm going to work with it, pull it down here, and then I'm going to rinse my brush out. I'm going to leave it there and take the water off the brush, go directly into this blue, and see what happens when I add blue on top of it. And I mix directly on the paper, and I bring brightness not to my palette, but directly onto the work in front of me. Okay? See what happens. Ugh, and I'm just like dying to bring a violet in here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this pink and see what happens. Well, that's kind of cool. All right, laying it in here, pulling it this way. That's part of the brush. That brush was so old. That's part of the varnish on the brush. So funny. Okay, so let's keep going. This is going to call for some iridescent, and this is going to call for some pencil work on top. I'm just kind of like planning ahead out loud, just speaking my thought process as I'm painting. So coming this way a little bit, there we go. And then moving it down here so that you start to create this flow with color. Like, okay, I brought pink in here. Now I'm going to bring it down really naturally almost to these other flowers that I've created. And what's cool is, can you see this is like pretty much straight up neon, and here there's more of a gradation. So there's a gentleness here that flows from the mixing of the paint to applying it pretty much straight out of the bottle. Okay, and I'm going to come this way with it. I'm going to bring in a little bit of orange here, see what happens. I love pink and orange together. I just think like, it's like fruit and cheese. Okay, I'm going to rinse my brush out. I feel like it's getting a little too muddied. I want to come back and I want to meet this neon with this neon right here. Okay. Bringing it down. Following, again, I love how that landed straight out of the brush. Coming this way again. Okay. Lee, I can't see the camera. I wonder if you're watching. I loved your post about delivering food. Oh, that was so beautiful. Thank you so much for doing that. And I hope you got all the messages I tried to send you about the moleskin paper. Because I got like a message from you recently that was old, looking for that information, but I had already sent it to you. So there we go. Wow, that is really fun. So basically here, straight up neon over watercolor. Oh, I hope that you're all being very gentle with yourselves. Very, very gentle with yourselves in this time of coronavirus. I was in the woods with my daughter Annie the other day, and we came across two female deer, and they just look straight at us. And in the spirit world, a deer is a sign of gentleness. And that was the message I felt like I received. Like, okay, I'm going back in for blue. I know you probably can't see my palette. I'm mixing pink and blue here. Oh, you've got to see this. This is so cool. So the message is gentleness. But can you see mixing these two? What an amazing color that makes right there. That is so cool. That violet. I'm going to come back over here. And I'm going to, where did I want to lay that down? Oh, right here. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Isn't that so unexpectedly beautiful? That blue in there really pops it. So I started this watercolor on the beach late summer with core watercolors that have this amazing, really jivey thing of like this earth tone feel to them. They're not like super bright, but they're intensely pigmented, but they have a definite earth tone feel to them. So I let that dry and it sat in my drawer probably for 6 months, and pulled it out. When I showed you my drawings the other day, going back in for more blue and pink, I'm going to actually mix it on the paper this time. It's a little bit coming back in for more blue. And decided, because I had these beautiful inks in the house, to see what neon would look like. As we were creating together. Neon's like, oh wow, so I'm going like straight up blue here, and it looks beautiful against the yellow. Do you see that? Can you see that? How beautiful that blue is? Oh my gosh, and layered on top of the watercolor, there's still pink in the brush that's bleeding off. So I ask you again, can you be comfortable with chaos? Can you be comfortable not knowing what's going to happen, but trusting that it's beautiful because you see the beauty right in front of you, if you can just allow yourself to see it and embrace it? Sorry guys, I know that you're trying to watch me paint, and I'm getting better at this all the time. I think what I'll do is I'll move my palette over here so that you can actually see the work. Thanks for being patient with me. Okay, so, all right. So I'm coming back in here. Can we see that? No, you can't see that. Oh, I need a real television studio, don't I? Okay, so here we go. There it is. All right, thank you for your patience. So can you see the blue in this like really intense neon blue and this intense neon pink blended here on top of these core watercolors, and it's doing this really cool thing where it's going intense, and then it's going mixed and tertiary and earthy. And getting back to what the really important thing I was trying to tell you is that we can't control this. And art is a wonderful place to come to in your life where you go like, yeah, you know what? There's so many things. Oh, I love how that created that little bubble there. That's beautiful. I'm going to do another one of those. I'm just going to kind of like make a circle and create a space that shows the watercolor underneath. Beautiful. So, yes, it's like I can't really control all of this. And to think that I could would actually, I think, hurt me. It would hurt my sense of place in the world. And it would hurt the way I feel about myself. To think that I had to or could possibly control everything that happens when I make art. Oh, wow. Okay, check this out. The pink and the green mixed together. So let's see what happens when we mix them. Yeah, brown. That's not something I want in my painting. So now I know for sure, even though I kind of already knew, I'm going to rinse my brush out really well. And I'm actually going to squeeze the water out of it. Squeeze the water out and put some more pink out in a place where it doesn't run into the green. Okay. I guess I've just always felt like if you can have color, why would you want anything else? I remember there was a time that I was in Florence, Italy, with my young family, and I was buying shoes in the Ferragamo store. And I love shoes, and I love Ferragamo. And I remember I got home, and I had a black pair and a brown pair. And I'm like, why did I buy black and brown when Ferragamo had all these different color variations, and what am I afraid of in terms of embracing color? So there is an elegance to black. There is an elegance to brown. There is no doubt. But why do I wear it all the time? And it's certainly not something I would have ever painted with, but like, why do I wear it all the time? And it's interesting, I remember learning about the Sun King, Louis was he the 14th or the 16th, the one at Versailles. And it was a great sign of royalty when you could afford like red shoes or pink shoes or like, because, and I'm like, well, that's available to us today. Like, why am I not embracing it? So I started to. And I almost basically cannot put black on my body these days because it feels too sad. So I'm going back up through here and just layering more of this really bright, ooh, sorry about that. This really bright neon ink on top of it. Okay, so I'm going to come through here. All right, so I'll be working on that, and then I'll post what it looks like. So take the time. Ooh, my hair's all funny. Thank you so much. Hi, Evelyn. It's so great to see you. Hi, Carrie. Thanks so much for joining. I'm going to wave at you. So take the time to like really experiment with color and to let it saturate into your soul and to know that it's a gift of God and that you are entitled to it and all the joy and the beauty that it brings. So thank you, and I'll post more about this as it becomes complete. Have a beautiful day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye. Make art.